Okay, so I've done this class once today. This is the second time, and the first time was with terrible internet and a screaming kid. So I'm just like hoping the bar is really low. So we're gonna crush it tonight. And this is the reality of this class. I am learning this stuff like basically at the same time as you. We are learning this together. This is new. There is so much good info coming out in September on new products in general, but especially this MetaPWR line. And I just like have a heart to make sure people feel prepared for all the research and education that's going to come. So here's your sneak peek if you're like, I want to be ready, right? When this happens. And I hope that it's helpful to you as we look at yes, the MetaPWR line, but what products are going to really like be super synergistic with this product line and work well with it as well. All right. So this is the question, and I know it's an obvious answer, but this is the question we're answering. Do you want to live younger, longer, and look and feel even better? Yes, yes, and yes, right? There are a lot of different ways that we measure our health and wellness. For some people, it's how they look, how they feel. Others, it's like, what are my cholesterol levels? What's going on with my weight? And so many things are determining our health, how we're exercising, how we're eating, what is our stress load, how are we sleeping, what about exposure to toxins, genetics. And many of these things are very easily measured in quantitative form. You think about blood pressure, body mass, things like that, where others are a little bit harder to get a measure on, maybe your emotional health, energy levels, and those kinds of things. And I just think that we're going to kind of look at the whole picture here together and all the different things that play into how you're feeling, how you're looking, etc. So certain things really like come our way and fight against our journey to like health and wellness. Some of these are here on the screen for you to look at. I would encourage you. I have a handout that I'll share at the very end because I forget. But think about like what are the one or two that for you are getting in the way of greater wellness, of greater health. What does that look like in your life specifically? And then an even, I think, more important question to consider is what is it costing you? You could be fatigued, you could be like physically what's going on. You might feel fatigued, you might have weak bones from certain nutritional deficiencies. Maybe you've got issues with your cardiovascular health, etc. But then if you think even beyond this, how is it impacting like maybe the interactions with your family, with your kids, with your spouse? How is your brain fuzzy at work? Think about how you're feeling mentally and emotionally each day. And so this is such like a far-reaching effect when we're not feeling ourselves, all the different areas of our lives that it really affects. So our focus today is really to consider the wellness pyramid and what we're talking about. And we're going to focus on the two first layers, the nutrition and digestion piece and the movement and metabolism piece. You can see in this image that like those are foundational. If you don't have those, the whole thing topples over. It just doesn't work. And I just think that's so true because especially like nutrition and digestion, it impacts every area of our lives and it is so foundational. A statistic for you that is something to also consider, a little bit staggering, but only 6.8% of the population has optimal cardiometabolic health. So that means the whole majority, right, are dealing with things like maybe carrying too much weight or issues with blood glucose levels, blood lipid levels, blood pressure that's not in the right range, cardiovascular things, right? So everyone you love is or will, most likely be impacted by this statistic, by what's going on here. And so this is what's so critical about what's coming in September is that it's going to help address what's going on here. Good nutrition is so key. We're going to spend some time on this before we even get to the MetaPWR line because it affects, everything. And the typical modern diet we know is full of processed foods. We're lacking in so many things. And the two biggest factors that slow metabolism are inactivity and poor diet. And I think that a lot of us might be thinking, I just eat really well And I'm not really sure that this applies to me. And here are some stats that just kind of talk about the different nutrient deficiencies when it comes to, let's see if I can get it to fill in. There we go. Slowly but surely. So you'll see coming up on the screen the different vitamin deficiencies. And this is really because we're not talking about like the same kind of food that we were 10, 15 years ago. The soil is depleted. There's a lot of things that are fighting against the nutrition in our food, the nutrition levels, and it's really been bred out of the food we're eating. If you haven't already learned this, I'm sure you have, right? That this is happening. And this is so important to be aware of when you're thinking of what am I giving my body and fueling it with each day. And even when you're doing a really good job, even a really healthy diet can fail to give you what you need when it comes to micronutrients and that nutrition piece. I do love that our bodies have an amazing capacity to like thrive and navigate that, but especially when we give it what it really needs. So what are the solutions that we're going to talk about, right? We're not just going to leave you down in the dumps here. We're going to make sure that we cover two really critical product systems that are going to help you maintain that healthy lifestyle. One is focused on movement and metabolism, and the other on nutrition and digestion, those two bottom levels of the wellness pyramid. These are systems that are safe, they're effective, they're affordable, and you can use them in your daily routine, and they don't take a lot of time each day, like a few minutes a day. So first, let's cover the solution for nutrition. Like I said, even the best diets are going to be deficient in a lot of the things that we need. So the Lifelong Vitality Pack is really such a wonderful starting place for this working on nutrition piece. All right, we'll take a brief look at each one of these. If you've been paying attention in Fierce Oilers, we're walking through the importance of lifelong vitality, because it's true, this is what this like married with MetaPWR is such a dynamic duo, and they complement each other so well. And one of the things that I really want to highlight about what doTERRA does with this 3-pack is the absorption piece, the bioavailability. You can supplement your body all day, but if they're not bioavailable things, then you're not really doing much good. So there are two processes mentioned here, chelation and full spectrum ratios, and these have been shown to improve bioavailability and just really help with our nutrition. So LLV uses a patented process that introduces vitamins and minerals to a yeast-based protein matrix. So they're better recognized as food and they support, right? And then they're used in the digestive process. So there are actually quite a bit of there's quite a bit of research and things like that on the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So if you have interest in seeing some of those things, that research, I can point you in the right direction on that. But this just kind of highlights some of those clinically supported benefits. Okay, it's moving off the screen, very goofy. 1 second. I think that for me, it was an adjustment in my mindset to understand how like investing in the Lifelong Vitality Pack saved us money, you know, to say to my husband, we for 8 years have been spending, it was $79.50 recently, $80.50 a month for both of us. So we could have our lifelong vitality. And it quickly became apparent that we were feeling entirely different, and that our trips to maybe the doctor's office or for appointments that maybe we would have had in the past were no longer happening. And so I have a sneaking suspicion that we haven't even begun to see half of the savings of what investing in our health on the front end has done for us. But the other way to look at this is what it would take you to recreate all of the value of what's inside of Life LLV. So, you know, it talks about $1,345. Like if you were to go to the store and try and get individual bottles to replicate this, it would be anywhere between $200 and $300. So this is not only significantly more convenient, it's an incredible product and it's a wonderful value. Okay, so alpha CRS is one of the first ones I want to consider. And I think we've all heard quite a bit about the importance of antioxidants. That's like not news to anyone here. I talked today, I think it was more in Fierce Oilers about, you know, why antioxidants are important and what we're up against with free radicals and that they're really everywhere. But you can see some of the benefits that alpha CRS is going to be able to offer. And a couple of the ingredients that I want to highlight: the boswellic acid and the bromelain protease enzyme to support healthy cellular function. Even if you just Google some of these ingredients, it's very interesting what comes up. Ginkgo biloba botanical extract to support mental clarity and energy. What people notice hands down with this one is the energy. I hear that a lot. And the doTERRA tummy tamer blend, right, to help prevent an upset stomach, which I appreciate that that's in there. The XE omegas, we're going to get your your omega-3s, and that's we know that that's an important, right? So it's a proprietary blend of marine and land sourced omega fatty acids, and so you're going to get a really great combination. It also has natural vitamins D and E, so 800 IUs of vitamin D and 60 IUs of vitamin E. So that's great to get in there. A really dynamic essential oil blend is also in here. So really great lineup. The essential oils in the XE Omega help protect the essential fatty acids from oxidation and getting rancid. They kind of act as a natural preservative system. There's a vegan option as well, if that's something that is important to you. Microplex VMZ is the last one in the lineup. These are your vitamins and minerals. This is what we're talking about, especially when it comes to like being deficient in certain things. So these are the vitamins that you might think you would be getting in your diet, but maybe you're not. And let's see, there's one more screen for you on this one. And a couple more benefits for you on that one. If you ever want to read some of the research, even if you just Google doTERRA Microplex VMZ PIP, any product you want information on in greater detail, you just Google the name of it and add PIP to the end of it. It stands for product information page, and it's going to pull up a lot of really great info, and usually research towards the very end of that document, which is really nice. And there's a vegan option as well. Okay. So that is your nutrition and digestion foundation. The next layer we're going to look at is the metabolic health piece. So this system that's being released, MetaPWR, is focused on the movement and metabolism piece. That's second level. And I'm really excited about what's being released here and how it's going to help us maximize our metabolism. And I'm just going to tell you what I know so far. There's a lot that I don't know. I do want to just kind of highlight that this is like a revamp and like to the 10th degree of Slim and Sassy. All right, so we'll talk about that when we get to the metabolic blend specifically. But basically, metabolic health means your body can digest and absorb nutrients from the food you eat without spikes in blood sugar, blood fat, and insulin. It's really important to avoid these big spikes. And we'll talk a little bit more about why that is. But basically, you don't want to be doing that long term. And having good metabolic health lowers your risk of challenges from metabolic imbalances. So one of the things that we've been talking a lot about as we've been learning about this is that metabolic health and biological age are inseparable. So most of us would be familiar with the idea that like our lifestyle choices affect our physical appearance. And remember, only 6.8% of the population has optimal cardiometabolic health. And so metabolic imbalances are going to contribute to the appearance of early aging. They're going to affect the way we look. Even with genetic factors, your lifestyle choices make a big difference. And the same list of things that makes you look old on the outside makes your cells act old on the inside. Some of the latest research at Harvard and other top tier organizations shows metabolic health and biological age really are inseparable. And that means the stronger and healthier your metabolic function, the younger you're going to feel inside and out. So this new system is filling the hole in your wellness lifestyle. And the clinical research is like preclinical studies are suggesting that it's supporting naturally increasing your NAD plus and NADH. You'll be hearing a lot about those and learning a lot about those levels. But this is again normalizing your blood glucose levels, promoting healthy insulin activity and response, and inhibiting the growth of adipose fat cells. I also hear, we'll talk about this in a minute here, but there are 9 types of collagen from ethical and sustainable marine sources. Most other products in like the collagen market have 2 types maximum, and none of the other metabolic support factors that we'll talk about. So the MetaPWR essential oil blend itself doesn't just come in a single format. There's a lot of variety, and it's going to help you like incorporate it in different ways throughout your day. So at the heart of this is like the remade Slim and Sassy blend. So the MetaPWR Metabolic blend. It's got our grapefruit, lemon, peppermint, ginger, and cinnamon that it used to have. It's in different ratios. Optimized performance. We're calling it willpower in a bottle. And you can see there's gum, there's going to be soft gels and beadlets. All right. Remember, support wherever you are. So that is going to be a wonderful aspect of it. Aspect number 1, lineup number 1 for MetaPWR is the oil. Okay. And the different forms that it comes in. Then the MetaPWR Metabolic Assist. How does this benefit you? Good question, Amy. It turns fast carbs into slow carbs, reducing our mealtime blood glucose spikes. Blood sugar levels are one of the most significant markers of health, and these levels naturally fluctuate depending on eating and activity patterns. But it's important to note that constant spikes and crashes in your blood sugar are hard on your body, and they contribute to poor functioning cells. So if you're like on a roller coaster ride all day long, there's going to be some serious fallout to that. And so this MetaPWR Assist contains multiple natural compounds that are clinically evidenced to promote healthy blood sugar regulation. So that's the second part of the line. And then the third part of the line is MetaPWR Advantage. This is the collagen piece. So while most collagen products use only 1 or 2 collagen peptide types, like I said before, this has 9. Each supports a different biological system, from bone and cartilage strength to skin elasticity. And then a supplement's delivery system is crucial to its bioavailability, right? We talked about that with lifelong vitality, and that's especially true of collagen. Certain ingredients in MetaPWR Advantage can influence the expression of several aging genetic pathways to ensure you're not only living longer, but also living well, like yeast powder NMN. By supplementing with the naturally derived NMN found in MetaPWR Advantage, you can support your body's ability to produce the NAD+, optimizing your metabolic health and extending your health span. NAD+ does a lot in our bodies, but the most critical ones are metabolic processes and mitochondrial function. So by the time you reach age 50, your NAD+ levels are generally about half of what they were at age 20. So this can really lead to a lot of different challenges, like difficulty managing weight or decreased energy levels. So this is a really great answer to what's going on there. So I think the 3 biggest takeaways would be to remember that nutrition and metabolism have a synergistic effect on your health and overall wellness. That nutritional deficiencies, that a lot of us are dealing with those kinds of things, and it's affecting us metabolically, and that there really are safe, effective, and affordable solutions that you can use in your routine that don't have to be super complicated, that don't take a ton of time. And so I think it's really exciting to think that this is going to be like available to us to be able to use. I'm really excited to get my hands on it, to feel better, look differently, all of that. I'm very, very curious, and I am grateful for this sneak peek because this is a lot of really exciting things coming our way. There we go. Okay, so a couple of options for when we talk about getting your hands on some of the products that we talked about. If you have not gotten started with doTERRA, I'm telling you, the Healthy Habits Enrollment Kit, that starter kit is bomb. It's going to get you all ready to go with the foundation of what you need for the nutrition and digestion piece. If you are already a customer with a wholesale account, I would encourage you to add the Daily Habits Kit to your loyalty order so you are ready to go for this release. You can be consistently taking your lifelong vitality and the digestive pieces there, right? Terrazyme and PB Assist, so you are ready to go for MetaPWR. And then as far as getting your hands on MetaPWR, there's a couple different ways you can do it. It's really what's best to you. So September 15th is when the very earliest possible date that you could order your MetaPWR. So let me tell you how you could do that. So every year at convention, those of us who go can buy a convention kit while we're there, and we'll be, can pick it up and get it and have it. There are some new ticket options, one being a virtual ticket that's $35. And people who buy that $35 virtual ticket not only get like the highlights of each day right to them, really simple. You don't have to watch hours and hours, right, from each day of convention, but you will also have the option to purchase a convention kit, which would include this new MetaPWR line. So if you want to be part of the first release, you either go to Salt Lake City or you buy the $35 ticket so you could be part of that first release. It will then probably be available to people, like the second wave will be October 1st, is how it usually goes. Could they throw me a curveball? Yes, they could, but that is typically what that looks like. What else? Melissa, what am I missing? Have there been any questions in the chat box?
If you basically, I'm just talking to myself in the chat box, writing things that intrigue me. I think the thing that I am doing, I know what I'm doing is I'm going to get a basic lipid panel. I'm going to get my basic things drawn in a fasting draw before I start these products, because I am very intrigued and I really want to be able to compare before and after for myself. So I'm going to do that before convention, and then I'll start it, and then I'm going to do it for 90 days and I'm going to repeat it. So if anybody is like, I am really interested, the things I'm so fascinated in are the lowering of glucose. I'm very interested in to see what my cholesterol will do. And I'm very interested to see what my postmenopausal weight will do. So I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to do the measurements, the whole 9 yards.
Go big or go home.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Other questions? You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat box if you have one.
If anybody has a question about this product line and wants me to ask, one of the things that I love